Hello internet! I haven't illustrated on here for a little while and I apologise for that. The simple fact is everything I've been illustrating lately has not felt good enough. I'll start illustrating something and I'll be like, yeah, it's gonna be perfect, it's gonna look awesome, I'm so excited, and then like halfway through everything just goes to absolute crap. I don't know why, it just happens and it sucks. And it's been kind of annoying because I really like sharing my illustrations and stuff. It's just hard because I don't want to repeat the same thing, but I also want to maintain my style, and I just feel very lost. When I start illustrating something, it'll get to the colour process and it just won't look how I want it to. I also find when I make a video, I start doing something and then do you ever have that thing where you're like, oh man, I have to show someone this really cool thing I figured out how to do, and then you try and do it in front of that person and you just stuff up? Like, I always used to think, oh yeah, I'm really good at making pancakes, and then as soon as my family was home, I'd just make terrible pancakes, like they'd burn them or they'd be undercooked or some, I don't know if it's just like a subconscious pressure that you put on yourself, but that's what I've been doing and I don't like it. But I have started to get better. I think once you go through a bit of a creative rut, you learn how to work yourself out of a creative rut, so it is kind of a blessing and a curse. But today's rut in particular was horrible because I don't know if I've mentioned this previously, but I work a lot lately and Monday is my only day off, just today, and I spent like 6 hours working on this one illustration and it just did not turn out how I want. One of the characters' heads was just really out of proportion and his eyes were really bulgy, and the female character was fine, but then her legs were like really wonky, and it just made me really mad because I'd already set down a watercolor background and it was a mess. And I just looked at it and I thought, I cannot put that in the project that I'm working on. I cannot let that be published anywhere. I can't show that to anyone because it's horrible and I don't want that to be a reflection of my work. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only person in the entire world who has been stuck in a creative rut before. But I also know that I'm not the only person who's worked their way out of a creative rut. So these are just my suggestions on how to work yourself out of said rut, because they suck and I don't like them. And I'm sure as I get older, I'll be better at dealing with them. And I'm sure you guys probably have your own means of getting out of them too. Number one, if you're looking at a drawing that you're doing and you're going, oh my god, this is awful, I hate it, stop. No, grab a sketchbook. I know it sounds really basic, but if you just start scribbling in a sketchbook and not think about how the work should look at the end, you can't disappoint yourself. I, for one, am an avid user of sketchbooks. I have at least 15 of them. They may not all be full, but they definitely have helped me develop where I am now, and hopefully they'll continue to help me develop creatively, because it's really nice to be able to flick back on your work later and see how you came to a better version of what you were trying to start off with. Number two, if you have an illustration that you've done the line work for, or you've done the rough for, whatever, and you're about to hit it with colour and you just think to yourself, what if I screw this up? Or you just know that you're a little bit hesitant with using ink or whatever colour medium it is that you do use, scan it or trace it or photocopy it, whatever you think you should do. I, for one, use carbon paper occasionally or trace paper. I would highly recommend tracing any illustration before you colour it, because I have had a terrible history of illustrating something and then going, oh, that's crap, I don't like the colours, and then just, you know, leaving it and never going back to it. Don't do that because your work is still worthwhile even if you don't colour it correctly. And that means you can play with it time and time again, and if you are scanning it, you've got a copy of it forever, and then if you are tracing it, you can change parts of it too, so that's always cool. I will admit, carbon copies are a pain in the butt, especially if you're using the blue carbon. I'm sure there are many alternative solutions to this. I just haven't found them yet, so if you do know anything about that, please feel free to enlighten me because I'd love to know. Number three is really basic, but if you're like me and you've been stuck in a studio for 6 hours and nothing's working, go watch Netflix. I have a really bad habit of combining my art stuff with my chillax stuff, and when it doesn't work out, chillaxing makes me really stressed. But sometimes the best thing to do is just to leave that headspace and go sit on the couch or go read a magazine or go do whatever it is that you do to chill out. I, for one, went and brought in the washing from the washing line. I know it sounds really basic, but I just needed to stand up for 10 minutes and just do something to take my mind off drawing and looking at paper. It just helped me kind of get back into the flow of whatever I was trying to achieve. I think number 4, my final thing, is you should fill your space with things that you love. If you're not fortunate enough to have an office or a studio like I do, just your bedroom even. When I was growing up, I had crap everywhere. I remember in one of the houses we lived in, I lined literally my entire walls with posters and cutouts from magazines, everything. It was ridiculous. Now I sort of just fill it with flowers and previous illustrations that I'm really proud of, or other people's work that I really love, or anything, anything, vintage cameras, just stuff that really excites me. And then I feel like it's a much more welcoming place to work in. I know it sounds really, really basic, but sometimes you just need stuff there to motivate you. I don't know how I would stay motivated if I wasn't looking at children's books or graphic novels sometimes. It's just so cool to have someone to look up to and to make you feel like that, to make you feel as though you're getting somewhere. So yeah, and take it slow. Just a bit of additional advice. Don't feel like you have to be completely perfect all the time. I struggled with that, especially at art school. I found that a lot of people were really good at refining themselves in a sort of contemporary art process, but I didn't fit in with that. I found that really difficult because a lot of people wanted to be painters or sculptors or whatever, and I was just sitting there drawing faces and things, and they were saying that's out of proportion and that's this and that's that, and I was like, well, no, you don't get it. Oliver Jeffers draws like that, why can't I draw like that? Or Rebecca Sugar draws like that, why can't I draw like that? So do you. I know for one this works for me. It hopefully will work for you, and I will be sure to be back here soon actually illustrating something and out of this terrible, awful rut. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. I just blah, blah, blah. That's all I'm doing today. Okay, try that again.